Hello, everybody. Welcome to our pedal to the metal. Q2 is go time, and Q2 is almost done. So be looking out in your emails for
Mhm.
our summer series coming up. It's going to be a good series. Um, Pharmacy Badass University. If you are not a member and you want to learn more, you've seen us everywhere. You don't really know what it entails. Feel free to give me or even Lisa a chat and we can chat through it with you. We can show you the different levels. We can really show you, we can even give you a little sneak peek inside of our membership to see if it's right for you. I know you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing this from me, but our $200 membership is really fantastic. I mean, it's a great place to start. And I guarantee you from our newsletters that you get once a month delivered in your inbox or in your mailbox, you can take that full strategy and adapt it to your pharmacy quickly. If you see me at any of the shows this summer, I have examples of that one that you can come by and take. Um, so, in Pharmacy Badass University, we have a four-step system. Step one is you're going to reverse poor cash flow and low profits. Number two, you're going to build strong business foundations. We are going to build you up so you are a fortress in step two. Step three, we're going to scale your profitability. We're going to make your pharmacy profitable. And then step four, where my friends are joining us for today, is they live in step four in diversifying. And they are clinical services, RPM, CCM, clinical services. And I am so thrilled to really be doing this with Matt Gilbert, who is an old friend, and then Scott Kozlowski, who is a new friend from Medsense. So thank you guys for coming on. I'm thrilled to have you.
Thanks for having us, Heather. Great to be here.
Yeah, pleasure. Pleasure's all ours.
Okay, so before we begin, and they are from Medsense Health. Sorry, I did not mention that earlier. But Scott and Matt, I must tell you the rules of our webinar, which, quite frankly, there is no rules. So the pharmacists that have graciously given us our time are allowed to interrupt and ask any question that they would like throughout the webinar, and I will be sure to get that question answered. I truly try to, I don't know if I am, and any of you guys can let me know if I'm not, try to be a mouthpiece and ask the questions for the pharmacist so that they can do many less research hours on fantastic new companies like yourselves. So, Scott and Matt, why don't you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves and how fantastic you are for independent pharmacy?
Well, I'll kick it off. My name is Scott Kowalski. I'm the Chief Growth Officer. Been with MedSense for about 3.5 years now. Our company's about 6 years old. We like to say that we've smoothed out all of the edges typically associated with launching any sort of a program like this. And frankly, we kind of learned the hard way. In the early stages, we are asking a lot more out of our pharmacy partners, and we realize that pharmacies are swamped. They're super busy, margins are tight, staff is super, overworked probably in more cases than not. And our special sauce, and Matt will go through that. Our special sauce is really in how we implement and how we integrate with the workflow within pharmacies. My background, I come from the payer side. I spent about 11 years with a regional payer up here in Madison, Wisconsin. We had about 400,000 members, 450,000 members. So I oversaw all of operations. I'm a compliance lawyer by training. So
Mm.
work with a lot of data, work with a lot of patient information. Most of our clients are over 65. So I had a ton of experience working with Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplement patients. So everything we do is geared towards an older population, 65 plus, because we are covered under Medicare. Um, we've had a great success in the last 18 to 24 months. MedSense has a couple of patents. We've mentioned that we're a strategic partner with CPESN.
Mm.
We're actually an FDA cleared Class 2 medical device. So we actually are considered a medical device cleared through the FDA. And we work only with independents. We don't work with any of the big box stores. We don't work with large
Love it.
hospital system. We only work with independent retail. Most of our pharmacy partners are family owned. So I'll
Very cool.
I'll I'll kick it over to Matt.
Hey, well, great to be here. Matt Gilbert, Chief Revenue Officer for Medsense Health. May recognize me from some other companies through my history. Used to work for QS1. I ran 2 pharmacies in Connecticut for about 15 years before that. Worked for Walters Kluwer, and then most recently was Vice President of Major Accounts and Business Transformation for RxSafe Icon, which is a huge automation vendor in the space. Met Scott and Matt, which are two of the principals from Medsense, about 4 years ago. And we worked on a project together developing a strip packaging dispensing device, which Medsense still sells today as part of their RTM portfolio. But kind of watched the evolution of those guys and saw them go through those pitfalls of some of the workflow stuff and gave them
Sure.
some helpful advice that they actually implemented along the way. And then I came on board with them, left RxSafe beginning of this year, came on board with these guys, and it's been a fun ride. I appreciate the operational efficiencies that Medsense has, which we can get into in a little bit. But just happy to be on board and partnering with Heather and Lisa at Diversify has been great. We did our first pharmacy profit summit a few months back with Medsense, and it went great. Onboarded 20 or 30 stores just from that show, and still talking to some more now. So happy to be here, and we can get into some more good stuff in a minute here.
That's fantastic. And I'll pay you $5 when I see you in Denver for that good testimonial.
Anytime. It's free. On the house.
I love it. So tell me exactly, and this goes out to either one of you, exactly what you are in very layman's terms. Like, I've never met you a day in my life, know nothing about you, and how this is clinical services with a medical device.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Matt.
I think the easiest way that I describe us is a clinical services technology company that partners with pharmacies. And we've got 2 core programs right now, and we're in the process of expanding those. But if you think of a hypertension program with a smart blood pressure cuff and
Mhm.
an adherence program are 2 core pillars right now, but they use the same workflow on both of them. So our goal is to drop one of those programs or both into a pharmacy with no real uplift for the pharmacy. You're not adding additional manpower. You're not devoting a ton of hours to implement or get a program off the ground. And dropping something in for a pharmacy where we're taking care of the candidate discovery, the insurance checks. We built out a doctor group that prescribes these programs to your patients at the pharmacy.
Mm.
We take care of the devices. We do all the billing. And then we ask for just a little clinical work on the back end that the pharmacy has to do. So no upfront cost, no ongoing cost. Drop it in, offer it to your patients, and get clinical services off the ground for no charge and just a little bit of work.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, does it have to be the pharmacist that does that little bit of clinical services?
Yeah, it's got to be a pharmacist-led program. So
Okay,
depending on the state, there's different regulations, but we like to be at the pharmacist leading the charge on everything. Now, there
sure.
may be certain pieces that a technician or a community health worker helps out with and assists, or nurses. Got a few pharmacies that have them involved in the care coordination.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a pharmacist-led program.
That's fantastic. And so you mentioned there's no monthly cost or no upfront cost. It is just the cost of time. Is there an average like per patient, or how would you describe the time that it's going to take to run this program?
Scott, you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah. There's no actual clinical requirement. There just
Sure.
has to be a monthly touch base with the patient. We will tell
Okay.
you, we will tell you on average, it's about 5 minutes. And it doesn't have to be a net new call. It doesn't have to be an actual physical phone call made for the first time. It could be on the back of a med rec call or some sort of call that you're already having with the patient, or the patient is coming into the pharmacy and it can be one-on-one
Mhm.
face to face. So CMS is pretty liberal about that, but they do want that
Okay.
interaction between patient and pharmacist. It makes sense, right?
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
a, it's a service run CMS sponsored program. So they want to encourage that clinical interaction. So
Right.
I would
Right.
say
Well,
5 minutes on average.
and honestly, this is one of those times where delegation comes into place. So these are the activities and the things that we talk about where you have to look at the things that don't require a pharmacist, delegate those off so that the things that do require a pharmacist that are profitable, that, again, this is cash flow. So,
Right. Right.
so you can do those activities. So I think that everybody hears pharmacist needs to be involved and everybody gets crazy scared. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just the case of, and myself included, I am the world's worst documented delegator on the face of this planet. Do not ever get Lisa started about it. She will never stop talking to you about it. But that these are one of these lessons where we really need to look at the time that we're doing, take away what doesn't need to be done by the pharmacist and have the pharmacist focus on what they could, the activities that bring them money. Both Matt and I are CROs, and every morning I wake up and think, okay, what activities am I going to do today to fulfill my CRO role to make the money? So I think this just falls into one of those categories. And I absolutely love that any question that I ask you guys, and I've talked to you before the summit and since at conferences, you just give me an answer without emotion. It's not a beat around the bush. It's not oh, well, it has to be this, or oh, well, it has to be. It's just the way it is. And I love that about you guys. um, okay, so we know the little bit of time that you're going to have to take. It costs nothing up front. What is the full onboarding of the program? How does that work?
Yeah. So, I mean, initially, how we get a pharmacy up and running and we're onboarding hundreds of stores at any given time is signing a BAA with the pharmacy. So we don't make them commit to a contract or anything until we figure out what the patient population looks like.
Mm.
So depending on what pharmacy management software they're using, if they're using Liberty or DRX, we've got great APIs where we turn on the switch and we get the data stream flowing. If it's Pioneer or anybody else, we have a simple report that we push out. We'll do a data pull, do a 6-month look back after we've got that BAA in place. And we'll take a look and we'll tell you exactly which patients from your current patient population at one store or 50 or 100 stores, whatever it is, who qualifies, but not only that, what is their copay for the program? So ideally, we're targeting patients that are 100% covered by their Medicare and Medicaid, dual eligibles, a Med Sup plan, or an MA plan that we're contracted with. We've got about 300 contracts with different Medicare Advantage plans. So we'll come back, and takes us a few days. We'll come back on a Zoom call with the pharmacy owner, go through exactly who qualifies. Could be 100 patients, could be 10,000 patients, but we don't know until we look at the data. We don't charge for that either. And then at that point, we make a call, is it a go forward or is it not? Do you not want to do it for any reason? Haven't had anybody say no yet, so that would be a first.
That's
Usually,
great.
usually, usually once you get somebody pot committed to exchanging and trusting you with their patient population, that's a pretty
Right.
good sign that they're going to move forward. After that, we do a contract with us and then also a collaborative services agreement with our provider group so they can administer those programs to your patients. And
Mhm.
then we have a call team that they will call on behalf of the pharmacy to enroll patients and offer them our solutions. So we make it really easy. The pharmacy doesn't have to do any onboarding. We set them up with a telehealth visit with one of our docs to enroll them in the program after they opt in. And then we figure out what devices they need. Drop ship the devices direct to the patient. No charge to the patient or the pharmacy for those. Once the package lands, we set them up, get all the devices connected, which is a pretty easy 2-minute process over the phone with one of our medical assistants. And then that data stream is live coming into the pharmacy's portal, which we provide to them. So billing ends up happening, 30 days following that date. Pharmacy's doing that little clinical piece, but really, I mean, we can have a pharmacy up and running in 7 days or less, depending on how committed they are to the program. So
Wow.
it's a quick turn, but like Scott and I are doing constantly. I mean, we're on calls all day, every day, weekends. At trade shows, we're getting calls from people while we're on the trade show
Yeah,
floor of looking for more information. So it's fun. You're helping pharmacies be successful, get these clinical services off the ground. It's not some super burden thing that they're trying to implement.
that
We should say that, Heather, that's kind of important is what's in it for the pharmacy from a monetary standpoint.
right.
Um, we pay $25 per member per month, no matter the device that goes out and no matter the workflow. We're billing different CPT codes, but that's really immaterial to the pharmacy partner. So if you have 100 patients on our platform, that's the 30 grand extra a year. So and we have plenty of pharmacies that have over 100 patients on the platform. So
Wow.
that's a nice nut. And if a pharmacy comes to me and says, "Hey, that's great. If I can make $30,000 a year extra with your program, if I get 100 patients on, but it costs me 20 grand, that's not very exciting." So
Right.
we know that and we recognize that. So your only time really in it is to identify a lead person, and we always like to have somebody that, and a lot of times it is also the pharmacy owner, but just somebody that we can talk to certainly early on and see how the program is going, share some experiences that we're bumping into that they might be able to give us some advice on, just kind of get the program off on the right start, and then it's just less and
Sure.
less and less as we go about our business.
Well, and this seems like such a great program that could be a bonus item for an employee. For you champion this, and we
Yep.
have this much growth over this much time. So this seems so very easy, Scott and Matt. Is there anything that has been an uphill battle or a a complaint, take a pause. If you have this, maybe we could work that out. Have you had any of those kind of instances? Because this seems like an absolute no-brainer, which I know my pharmacy friends, once you say it's an absolute no-brainer, all the red flags go up and they say, no, 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 it has to be something else.
I've got one, but I'll hold. Matt, you go ahead. You share what if you've got one.
No, biggest apprehension is sharing patient data. And,
Okay.
we always tell pharmacies, look, I came from a pharmacy background. I completely get it. We write into our BAA and our contracts that we explicitly only use this data on behalf of the pharmacy for these specific programs. And we wrote that in there purposely, that we don't want anybody thinking we're taking their patient data, selling it, using it for any other purposes besides these programs. So that's my biggest, barrier. But once we get past that, it's relatively smooth.
Right.
Heather, I don't know if you're managing calls, but I just saw. I know it might be helpful to sort of visualize what we do.
Sure.
So this is really the beginning of our company, right? We developed this little sensor that fits on top of anything that is prescribed or pardon me, dispensed by a pharmacy. So here's an example of it on a traditional vial. Here it is on an inhaler. And that's kind of a little difference between us and maybe some of our competitors is we don't have a proprietary container. Our sensors fit on anything that comes out of the pharmacy. Here's a 7-day pill organizer, right? I mean, here's a typical configuration for a senior. They have a 7-day pill organizer, an inhaler, and a PRN. Very,
Wow.
very common right there. Matt mentioned early on our strip packaging. This happens to be within our safe box, but we're sort of packaging agnostic. We just put one of our sensors up here. The only thing worse than missing a single dose is missing a packet that has 8 or 9 medications in it. So we just put our
Right.
technology here. They load their box in. Your same box comes like this, no change. We're not trying to disrupt the flow of interaction that the pharmacy is having with the patient. We want to meet them.
Right.
So they just slide this right in. They just thumb it through that little hole, and then they call this the guillotine. And this is a little helpful to hold on to when they're tearing a strip out of here. And we
Right.
do the same recording. We can see that Uncle Larry he pulled off 3 packets on a Friday. We can text Uncle Larry and say, "Hey, what's going on? You're only supposed to take 1 packet." And he says, "Oh, I'm going to visit the grandkids this weekend. I took out Saturday and Sunday." Good to know.
Ah,
So
okay.
that's the kind of stuff we can capture with that strip packaging. Here is our blood pressure cuff. This is a smart cuff. This goes directly to the cloud. So when the patient takes their blood pressure, they don't have to call it in, they don't have to journal it, write it down, share it with anyone. The reading goes right to the cloud and then to the dashboard, which is available to the entire clinical team,
Wow.
available to the patient. available to a it could be a sandwich generation person like me watching mom or dad a couple days a week. I can check in on them. I can get all the texting information, all the alert information as well. So we're going to keep adding products. In July at Cardinal, we're going to be announcing our disc bill solution for blister cards.
Mm,
Um, we are, thinking about adding additional devices, maybe weight scale for GLP-1. Definitely have to look at an A1C solution for diabetes. So we're just going to keep
wow.
going. And what we say to our partners is, the relationship that we develop today is going to look different a year from now. I mean, this is an
Right.
area, it is exploding between conditions covered, devices deployed, eligible patient pool that increases, adding CCM, to this as well.
Hmm.
You can bill CCM with RTM or RPM. So
Right.
it's really the beginning. And we like to say, even if you're not like if you have 5 clinical pharmacists on board, you can still get into a clinical experience with folks like us without having to staff up.
That's fantastic, and it seems so easy. The When I saw the pill packaging, it immediately made me think. This is a great way for your customers to feel like you care even more as well. If you're calling Uncle Henry and he's
Yeah,
taken three, and you say, "Oh, well, have fun at your kid's house. We can't wait to see you next week," or whatever the thing is,
right.
that really is a fantastic way to have good, solid interaction with your patients.
Yeah.
Yep. And we'll
Good, Scott.
I was just gonna say we don't expect the pharmacy to be staring at a screen watching all this activity.
Right.
So, we have an alert system, and if we get somebody that is showing a very high blood pressure reading, we'll forward that over to the pharmacy right away, or indicate to the patient that they need to seek immediate, medical assistance. But we want to be a monitoring and a data company. We don't want to get in the space of, the clinicians, right? The pharmacists and the physicians of the world who need to be making that recommendation directly to their patients. So we're just another tool to provide them with data to make those recommendations.
That's fantastic. This is fantastic. Well, I hesitate in saying this, but guys, sign up. Call Matt, call Scott. We will be sure in our replay in the show notes. If you're watching us on YouTube a month later, in the show notes, all of the information to get a hold of Matt and Scott will be in there. And truly, I truly do recommend this company. I have seen Matt walk around trade show floors taking phone calls and helping people out, and Scott as well. They are truly, I mean, two of the hardest working guys right now. I see you guys everywhere working your fannies off. So, what is the best way? Should we book demos? Should we just send emails? Tell me the best way for us to get signed up today.
Okay.
Yeah, I think book in a demo with us. Like you said, put our email addresses in the show notes,
Sure.
and feel free to reach out. We're booking demos, like I said before, constantly, all day, every day. So happy
Okay.
to squeeze anybody in before hours, after hours. We're pretty flexible. So
Tell me your email address on here so our friends that have joined us can email you after this.
yeah, so
I
mine
think
is mgilbert@medsense.health, and then Scott's follows the same format. So Kowalski@medsense.health.
That's it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We didn't have a lot of questions, but that just means, I mean, this is a no-brainer. It's easy to follow. If Heather Harrow can follow it and it's not complicated to her, anybody can get
yeah,
it.
we definitely we passed the Heather test.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I will see you guys this weekend. Have a fantastic show. Thank you, everybody, for turning in and riding with us through our Facebook Live um, era or messiness or whatever you want to call it. I will see you in 2 weeks with another great exhibitor. Bye bye.
Thanks, Heather.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.